Every year, it gets more challenging to select players for the NBA All-Star Game. So much talent is entering the league each season, and with rosters being held to just 12 Eastern Conference and 12 Western Conference players, we've seen some major snubs throughout the years. There's just not enough roster spots to include every deserving player. With the 2024 NBA All-Star Game rapidly approaching us, I decided to make my own All-Star Ballot featuring 12 players from each conference and an additional 4 players who would serve as injury reserves. I'll also be listing off lots of names that were snubbed from my list so that they can at least get a mention in the video. Before I begin, be sure to give this video a like and don't forget to subscribe. Just to give you guys an idea of how I decided these players, the rosters are set up so that the starting lineups have 2 guards and 3 forwards/centers. On the bench, there's 2 more guards and 3 forwards/centers with an additional 2 wildcard spots, which can be any position. I also added on 1 guard and 1 forward from each conference as injury replacements. With that aside, let's get started with the Eastern Conference. My first starting point guard is going to go to Tyrese Halliburton. Halliburton has reached superstar levels this season, helping the Pacers remain competitive in the Eastern Conference playoff race. He's seen many of his numbers take a significant jump this season as he is averaging 23.5 points, 4 rebounds, 12.5 assists, and a steal while shooting 50% from the field and over 40% from 3 on 8.5 attempts per game. He did unfortunately go down with an injury a couple weeks ago against the Celtics, but I think he definitely still deserves to be recognized as an All-Star starter this season for what he's accomplished. This would be Halliburton's second All-Star game. The second guard spot could have gone to a multitude of players, but I ultimately went with Jalen Brunson. Brunson has helped lead the Knicks to one of the better records in the East and serves as their main offensive hub. This season, he's averaging 25.5 points, 4 rebounds, 6.5 assists, and a steal. He's doing all this while shooting 47% from the field and 42.5% from 3 on 6.5 attempts per game. His efficiency and the Knicks being competitive put him in this spot for me. This would be Brunson's first All-Star game. The first starting forward for the Eastern Conference is Jason Tatum. Tatum has been the best player on a Celtics team with the best record in the entire NBA. Though his scoring is a bit down from last season thanks to the additions of Porzingis and Holiday, his efficiency is up. He's averaging 27.5 points, 8.5 rebounds, 4.5 assists, and a steal while shooting 48% from the field and nearly 37% from 3 on 8.5 attempts per game. This would be Tatum's 5th straight All-Star game. The next starting forward spot is going to go to Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis is having one of his best seasons to date and has helped lead the Bucks to one of the top seeds in the East. He's currently averaging about 31 points, 11.5 rebounds, and 6 assists to go along with over a steal and a block. He's also shooting over 60% from the field. This would mark Giannis' 8th straight All-Star game. The last starting spot for the East for me is Joel Embiid. Embiid has somehow leveled up once again from his MVP season and is on pace to be the scoring leader for the 3rd season in a row. He's averaging 34.5 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists, a steal, and 2 blocks while shooting over 53% from the field and 36% from 3 on over 3 attempts per game. This is truly one of the most dominant seasons in recent memory. This would mark Embiid's 7th straight All-Star appearance. Jumping to the bench, the first guard in my East reserve spot is Trae Young. Despite the Hawks' flaws this season, Trae might be having his best season to date. He's averaging 28 points, 3 rebounds, 11 assists, and a steal and a half. This is definitely the most we've seen Trae engaged on defense as well. He's also shooting 36.5% from 3 on over 9 attempts per game. The reason he didn't get the starting job is due to Atlanta's record. This would be Trae's 3rd All-Star game. The next guard reserve spot is going to go to Tyrese Maxey. Maxey's taken a significant leap this season into a surefire All-Star. On the season, he's averaging 26 points, 3.5 rebounds, 6.5 assists, and a steal. He's doing this shooting 45.5% from the field and over 37% from 3 on over 8 attempts per game. This will be Maxey's first All-Star game. The first forward reserve spot in the East goes to Scotty Barnes. Barnes is another player who has taken a huge leap this season into All-Star territory. He's taken on the lead role in the Raptors in just his 3rd season, averaging nearly 21 points to go along with 8.5 rebounds, 5.5 assists, a steal and a half, and a block and a half. And he's doing this on great efficiency, shooting over 48% from the field and 38.5% from 3 on nearly 6 attempts per game. This will be Scotty's first All-Star game. The next forward reserve spot is going to go to Julius Randle. Randle got off to a bit of a slow start this season, but has really turned it around as of late. He's averaging over 24 points, 9 rebounds, and about 5 assists, shooting over 47% from the field. Him and Brunson have made a great pairing in New York as the Knicks look to make another playoff run. This game would mark Randle's 3rd All-Star appearance. The last reserve spot at forward was a toss-up for me, but I went with Bam Adebayo of the Miami Heat. Bam is having what could be his best season of his career thus far with averages of 22 points, over 10 rebounds, and about 4 assists while adding a steal and a block. He's also shooting 51% from the field. This game would mark Bam's 3rd All-Star game and 2nd consecutive. For the first wildcard spot, I gave the nod to Donovan Mitchell. Mitchell has taken an ever so slight step down from last year's production, but remains one of the East's best guards with averages of 27 points, 5.5 rebounds, and 5.5 assists paired with 2 steals a night. He's shooting 45.5% from the field and 35% from 3 on 9 attempts per game. This would mark Mitchell's 5th straight All-Star appearance. In the final spot for the Eastern Conference, Conference and second wildcard spot, I went with Damian Lillard. Dame's pairing with Giannis isn't what people thought it would be just yet, with Dame having a bit of a down year for his standards, but I still saw him as all-star worthy. Dame is averaging 25 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 7 assists to go along with the steal. He's shooting just 43% from the field and 35% from 3 on 8.5 attempts per game. This would be Dame's 8th All-Star game and 2nd consecutive. For these guard injury replacement, I went with Jaylen Brown. Similar to Tatum, Brown's scoring numbers have dipped slightly due to new additions to the team, but Brown has remained an amazing second option. He's averaged about 23 points, 5 rebounds, 3.5 assists, and a steal while shooting over 49% from the field and 35% from 3 on 6 attempts per game. He just missed the cut of the reserves for me. If he were to make it, it would be his 3rd All-Star game and 2nd consecutive. For the Eastern Conference forward injury replacement, I went with Paolo Banchero. Paolo has been playing like a beast this season and has really stepped up his game since his rookie season. On the year, Banchero is averaging about 23 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, and a steal while shooting 46% from the field and 38% from 3 on 4 attempts per game. He's a big reason why the Magic have taken such a huge leap this season. This would mark Banchero's 1st All-Star game if he were to make it. Now, I wanted to shout out a bunch of players that were unfortunately snubbed from my list, but were definitely having All-Star caliber seasons. To start with the guards, I have Derek White, Terry Rozier, DeJounte Murray, and Tyler Hero. For the forwards, there's a lot. I have DeMar DeRozan, Kyle Kuzma, Jimmy Butler, Mikal Bridges, Franz Wagner, Pascal Siakam, Kristaps Porzingis, and Jared Allen. Now getting into our Western Conference All-Star starters, the first guard I have is Luka Doncic. Luka should be a lock to start this game with averages of 33.5 points, 8 rebounds, 9 assists, and a steal and a half while shooting over 48% from the field and 38% from 3 on 10.5 attempts per game while keeping the Mavericks competitive in the West. Luka is only 24 years old, but this All-Star game would mark his 5th consecutive. The next starting guard spot is going to another MVP candidate in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Shai is having a phenomenal season, leading the Thunder to one of the best records in the West. He's averaging 31.5 points, 6 rebounds, 6.5 assists, and 2.5 steals while shooting 55% from the field. He also does a good job getting to the line at almost 9 attempts per game and shooting 89%. This would mark Shai's 2nd All-Star game. The first starting forward spot in the West is going to none other than LeBron James. Father Time refuses to get in the way of LeBron. He's still playing like a top 10 player with averages of 25 points, 7 rebounds, 7.5 assists, and a steal and a half. He's doing this on incredible efficiency, shooting 52.5% from the field and nearly 40% from 3 on 5.5 attempts per game. This would mark LeBron's 20th overall and 20th consecutive All-Star game, a legendary feat for the King. Starting alongside him in the second forward spot for me is Kevin Durant. Durant has been putting up some absurd numbers this season as he looks to get the Suns back on track as they become healthier. He's averaging 29.5 points, 6.5 rebounds, 6 assists, and a block. His efficiency might be the most eye-popping stat of all of this, with a 52.5% field goal percentage, with lots of these shots coming from the mid-range, and an insane 47.5% from 3 on 4.5 attempts per game. This would be Durant's 14th All-Star game and 4th consecutive, but if you don't count the season where he missed due to injury, this would be his 14th straight. The last starting spot for the Western Conference will go to Nikola Jokic. Jokic is having another MVP-level season, keeping the Nuggets afloat near the top of the West. Coming off a championship, Jokic has averaged 25.5 points, 12 rebounds, 9 assists, a steal, and a block. He's doing all this shooting 57% from the field. This game would mark Jokic's 6th All-Star game and 6th consecutive. For the first guard spot on the bench, I'm giving it to De'Aaron Fox. Fox is playing at an insane level this season and having his best season to date with averages of 28 points, 4.5 rebounds, 6 assists, and a steal and a half. He's shooting 47% from the field, but where he's improved the most is his outside shooting. He's knocking down his threes over 39% of the time while shooting over 8 of them a game. This game will be Fox's 2nd All-Star game and 2nd consecutive. The next reserve guard spot goes to Anthony Edwards, who's been the best player on a team that's been consistently at the top of the West this season. In his 4th season, Edwards has averaged 26 points, 5.5 rebounds, 5 assists, and a steal and a half while shooting career best 46% from the field and 38.5% from 3 on 6.5 attempts per game. Like Fox, this would be Edwards' 2nd All-Star game and 2nd consecutive. For the first forward reserve spot in the Western Conference, I went with Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi has been mostly healthy this season and he's been playing great, helping the Clippers hang around the top of the standings in the West. On the season, he's averaging 24 points, 6 rebounds, 3.5 assists, and nearly 2 steals. He's also shooting 51.5% from the field and 43% from 3 on 5.5 attempts per game. This would mark Kawhi's 6th career All-Star game. The next forward reserve spot goes to another Los Angeles player in Anthony Davis. Seeing Davis also healthy this season has been great considering what he does on both ends of the floor for the Lakers. This season, he's averaging 25.5 points, 12 rebounds, 3.5 assists, a steal, and 2.5 blocks while shooting over 56% from the field and 36% from 3 on just 1 attempt per game. This would be AD's 9th All-Star game and first since 2021. The last forward reserve spot in the West is going to Domantas Sabonis. Sabonis has been a monster this season, putting up double-doubles and triple-doubles like nobody's business. This season, he's averaging 20 points, 13 rebounds, 8 assists, and a steal. He's also shooting 60% from the field and 39% from 3 on just 1 attempt a game. Alongside Fox, Sabonis has helped keep the Kings alive near the top of the West. This game will be Sabonis' 4th All-Star appearance and 2nd consecutive. The first wildcard spot in the Western Conference is going to go to Steph Curry. The guard pool in both conferences is beyond talented this season, so when it ended up with Curry at the wildcard spot, I was astonished. It was between him and Edwards for the final guard reserve spot, but I gave Edwards the edge due to the Timberwolves' success. Steph Curry has been nothing short of amazing himself this season. He's averaging 27 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 4.5 assists while shooting 45% from the field and 40% from 3 on 11.5 attempts per game. This would be Curry's 10th All-Star game and 4th consecutive. The second wildcard spot is going to go to another guard in Devin Booker. Booker has been putting up incredible numbers this season, yet still finds himself in a wildcard spot. This is mainly due to him playing slightly less games than some other guards and the Suns having a slightly worse record than some other Western Conference teams. On the season, Booker is averaging 26 points, 5 rebounds, and 8 assists while shooting 48% from the field and 38% from 3 on 5.5 attempts a game. This will be Booker's 4th career All-Star game. The guard injury replacement in the West is going to go to Desmond Bane. The Grizzlies have had a bit of a rough season and have faced lots of injuries. Despite this, Bane is enjoying his best season to date. Bane is averaging 24.5 points, 4.5 rebounds, 5.5 assists, and a steal. He's doing this shooting nearly 48% from the field and over 38% from 3 on over 8 attempts per game. This would be Bane's first All-Star game. For the forward injury replacement, I went with Alperen Sengun. It was really between him and Sabonis for the final forward reserve spot, but I gave Sabonis the edge for team record. Sengun has taken a huge leap this season and has helped put the Rockets slightly ahead of schedule in terms of team success. He's evolved into the Rockets' go-to guy with averages of 21.5 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, and a steal while shooting 54% from the field. In just his 3rd season, Sengun is looking to make his first All-Star game. Now for the Western Conference snubs, there's a lot. Mainly forwards, which is why I wanted to include them. Starting with the guards, there's just 2 in Jamal Murray and Kyrie Irving. With the forwards, there's so many to be mentioned, including Brandon Ingram, Jeremy Grant, Lauri Markkanen, Paul George, Zion Williamson, Jaren Jackson Jr., Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren, Karl Anthony Towns, Victor Wembanyama, and Rudy Gobert. With so many worthy players and so few roster spots, players like these were bound to get left off. With the All-Star format going back to East versus West, an exciting matchup should be in store. Please let me know if there's anyone I forgot on my ballot, and don't forget to like and subscribe.